everybody. Thanks for joining me for Bits and Bobs Part 10. Made good progress last week, and I've already started to make good progress this week, so I'm pleased with that. As I've said, I'm having a lot of fun putting this, watching the pieces meld together as a whole, and that's spurring me on to want to work on it a lot. This pattern piece element is the one I'm doing next. I've already done the blind stitching along the outside, and I did some along the fabric as well, with the piece that's supposed to be fabric. And the only thing, I don't think I'm going to do any more in the pattern pieces themselves, but I do still want to add the scissor charm eventually, but I'm going to wait till closer to the end just so it doesn't get in the way of any of the stitching where the thread might catch it. So I'll wait with adding that. But what I wanted to talk about is I had such fun picking the fabric out for this piece. If you notice the pink plaid that I chose, it to me was reminiscent of a rotary cutting mat, which back when I used to make clothes or Barbie clothes, I never had such a thing, but I think if I made clothes now, I would definitely use my rotary cutting mat. And the way it was spaced and everything, it reminded me of that. So I thought that was fun. And then the fabric I chose for the fabric, also tiny, small scale print, so that worked. And then for the pattern pieces themselves, I used a gauzy muslin so that it was see-through, which pattern pieces would be, and this is reminiscent of these pieces of some Barbie pattern pieces I had used when I used to make my Barbie clothes. So, and then I embroidered the details on top, and you can see I even embroidered using straight stitch and French knots some little straight pins. So yeah, this one's been a lot of fun. I'm not sure which one I'm going to work on next. There's none that are, I mean, every one of them has a little bit under and a little bit over, so it's a matter of doing part blocks, I think, sometimes. Like when I go to do the dress form, I'm ready to already stitch here, but on the other side, there's pieces underneath, so I'd have to do them first. And there is this, I don't think you can see it in this shot. No, I'll move it over, hold on. This easy peasy Dresden flowers that this block, this I might do next too. That way I can work on the sewing machine afterwards, because most of it is underneath. So I will come back when I've made some progress. And I'll just keep going. Back with progress. My easy peasy Dresden flowers block, I have finished stitching down. I did, like the others, a blind stitch all the way around the edge. I will say here that I don't, usually with a blind stitch you go in and then back out again all in one swoop, but because of all the layers involved here, it's all stab stitching. But I really haven't minded it. It allows me, when I put my acrylic, my piece of acrylic that I've shown before, when I put it underneath on my lap, so I have my pillow that I have on my lap, and then I usually have the quilt or whatever I'm stitching on top. Well, if I put that acrylic piece between the pillow and the quilt, this is the acrylic piece, then it allows me to put the quilt down for a second, and when I stab stitch I get to get it straight down, and it's allowed a finer flatter stitch to the background. However, it's not all perfect. This has a little bit of a wonky puffiness to it, but I think it's okay. I don't think I'm going to take any extra stitches to make that stay down, but you never know. Even the ribbon rose heart has a bit of a puff to it as well. So I did that all around the edge, but I left the little scallops loose. Thought that would be fun. And I also did a running quilting stitch around the shape all the way around. And that's pulled that all into, gives it a 3D effect. Now, I'm going to talk about this block a little bit. I mentioned that all of these pieces have something to do special with me. Some of them, as far as like even this sewing machine, crazy quilt sewing machine, they're the designs I've done through the years that I especially like this sewing machine, which is based on a antique toy sewing machine I got to play with when I was younger. It didn't really work, I just pretended, but that's this, it had this kind of bottom on it, so I based my design on that. My Easy Peasy Dresdens, I originally did them in my Let's Have a Cuppa tabletop design, and if you're interested, that pattern has the how to make them. I did slightly smaller versions for this. And then the other thing is, and you might know this if you've followed anything that I've done in any kind of timeline, I don't think there is a quilt I've made that doesn't have some kind of plaid in it. I just love plaids, that and polka dots. But sometimes I just love all plaid, and that's what I had fun with this one because it was all plaids except for the centers of the flowers, and even that is kind of plaid-y. So my old McPlaid farmyard quilt is all plaid as well, and I had a lot of fun with that one as well. So this kind of was, I took the idea from that farm quilt I made and decided to make this block all plaids as well. So that was a lot of fun. Is there anything? I did move a few more filler bits around after all. I don't have the quilt open at the moment, so I can't show you them, but you'll eventually maybe notice that some of them have been moved around. And I think I'm going to stop this week's video here and then get started on next week's video after, because I don't think I have enough time left to do a full finish of a piece. So I'll just end with this one. None of these videos are very long. I hope you don't mind that. If I could stitch and stitch and stitch, all of these stitches are boring and the same. But yeah, I don't have good enough glasses for that kind of stitching, and you don't want to see the back of my head. So that's mostly why I'm not showing you how to, or me stitching, because you really don't need to see me do the blind stitching and the quilting. You probably know how to do that. Anyways, okay. Hope you enjoyed the pieces this week. I had a lot of fun. That's 2 more down. And from the looks of it, I think I can do the sewing machine next, which will be fun. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you again next week if you're interested in seeing more. Bye.